Majestic sound. Tell them to say you should go and tweet that.
Hey, what up? It's your boy Toby D, and you have tuned in to my Christian audio podcast, Faith Football Fans. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, as NFC South champs, oh, that sounds so good. It's been a while, long time overdue for the Falcons. They flexed our game with the New Orleans Saints to 425 from 1 o'clock. Now, I always have a little love-hate type of situation when games are not at 1 o'clock because I be just ready to get to it. But, you know, it's all good, seeing as though we're already 10-5, we're the champs already. We still have something to play for, thanks to the Arizona Cardinals for beating the Seattle Seahawks. And listen, man, as much as I hate to have to probably say this, to me, it's not about the New Orleans Saints. In my mind, they're invisible ghosts right now. Who it's really about, to me, is Week 6. And many of us as Falcons fans remember what happened in Seattle in Week 6. And seeming as though Seattle lost that game and it allowed the Falcons the opportunity that Dan Quinn probably did not even think about, foresee, wasn't worried about until the opportunity arose. And that was having that number 2 seed, which we're currently sitting in now. And all we have to do is win, and we get a bye week. And what better team to take that number 2 seed from than the team who beat us on a no call and basically tried to sweep it under the rug as some competitive nature type of thing. We know how Pete Carroll is, and his team is built the same way. They have a competitive nature. But guess what? Dan Quinn does too. And even though he probably will not admit it, he would love nothing better than to make the Seattle Seahawks have to take the long road to even get to the Super Bowl. And we've seen that history has shown that they have a hard time trying to get to the Super Bowl when they have to play more than 2 games to get there. And so you know Seattle is praying that the Falcons lose Sunday because they feel like they have an easy opponent, because everybody else basically has dumped on the San Francisco 49ers, with the exception of the Rams, of course. They just can't catch a break. So they feel like they can win that game. And the Falcons' challenge probably would be a little bit more challenging because New Orleans is playing a heck of a lot better than they were at Week 3 when we played them. They got some guys that will be returning back healthy for them. Willie Snead, who did not play, pretty decent wide receiver for them. To come back and join Brandon Cooks and Kobe Fleener, who went off on us in that game that I was hoping he wouldn't go off on us on in Week 3. They got some defensive pieces coming back. Sheldon Rankins returning. And so they're feeling real good. They're pretty much healthy. They got a running back, Mark Ingram, who is hoping to have his first 1,000-yard season. And he probably will get it because all he needs is about 60 or so yards in order to get it on the Atlanta Falcons, which I'm sure would be gratifying to him because it is the Atlanta Falcons. And you just got to love Cameron Jordan, man, the defensive end. Great player. I like him, man. Here's a guy that either didn't want to remember Devontae Freeman's name or just didn't know it, calling him the little man. Now he's saying that we're trying to be like him because of our stadium name and things as such. But I highly doubt it because we're going to the playoffs and he's not. But he admitted as much. You know, they asked him, would it be gratifying to stop us from getting the number 2 seed? And he told them, you're like, but they're going to the playoffs, right? In other words, the Falcons. So, no, it wouldn't be that gratifying because they're not going to the playoffs, and the Falcons still are, even if we lose this game. We probably would not go to anything but the 3rd seed. But to be honest with you, I'm looking forward to crushing the Saints. I'm talking about this time really laying the wood on these boys. and making them realize that we're not that same team that they call little brothers anymore. We're going to become the big brothers now of everybody. Drew Brees and Sean Payton pretty much are the oldest on that Saints team. And there's trade talk about Sean Payton again, how New Orleans may be willing to let him go and not put up much of a fight with how much compensation they would want for him leaving there just to have a fresh start. So right now, that team, although playing better, they're still not there yet. And the scary part about it is, after two great, wonderful draft classes of the Falcons, I feel even better about the third draft class under Thomas Dimitroff and Dan Quinn. And free agency. We're in a position where we don't have to really pay for high dollar free agents. Dan Quinn seems to know the type of guys he's looking for. He's looking for those guys with that competitive edge, chomping, biting at the bit, to want to be a part of something. And these guys that are currently on our roster, that's one of the reasons why we're winning, because they are hungry. They want to be part of something great. And the Falcons are definitely cooking that up right now. You know, you hear them in their chants, eat, dog, eat. You know, they would say, if you give a dog raw meat, especially female dogs, they get even more vicious. And Dan Quinn has definitely been feeding them some raw meat. And what I mean by that raw meat, they're finally paying attention to the details, and you see it. Now, the offense was miles ahead of the defense early on, but now in the last 3 weeks, this defense is playing better. And when we get to the playoff talk, I'm going to talk about some keys to how this defense can help the Falcons get to the Super Bowl. Because there's a stat right now that I'm not going to talk about. Somebody might beat me to the punch if they figure it out. That the Falcons have done masterful on that they have not done since Mike Smith had been the coach. That could play a very huge role in them getting to the Super Bowl and having a chance at winning it. But like I said before, I'm not worried about the New Orleans Saints. I could care less about the New Orleans Saints right now. I'm basically putting the heads of the Seattle Seahawks on them and then visualizing me taking that number 2 seed away from them. That's what I'm looking at. So I'm not going to get into all of this matchup this and matchup that. Both teams are much better than they were week 3. And the Saints are fortunate enough to be carried on our backs to the 4:25 primetime game instead of 1 o'clock. But that's it from me right now. Toby D, Faith Football fans, please comment, subscribe. Let me know what's up. How you feeling, Falcons fam? I know you got to be excited right now. So let me know what's going on. Peace. I'm gone.